Hello candidates, and welcome to my first OCS prep video. For the purposes of this channel, my name is Simon the Zealot, and I am a recent OCS graduate. What I want to do with this channel is share some of my insights and experiences from OCS to make it a little bit more bearable for you. Now, OCS isn't easy, but preparation will go a long way towards your success. So without further ado, let's dive into our first topic, which is what to bring to OCS. Now, when I say what to bring, what I mean is what to bring in addition to what you have on any packing lists from the Marine Corps or your OSO or any OCS prep websites that you may have visited. Now, before I begin, I do have to give the following disclaimer, which is that the rules have the potential to change for every training cycle. The items that I'm citing in this video, I was able to bring and use during the latest OCS, which is the winter cycle, but it is your responsibility to do your due diligence to make sure none of these items have been banned. With all that said, let's take a look at the items that you may want to bring to OCS with you. Now, I've actually broken this group of items up into two lists. The first list is a list of items that I thought to bring myself and that I didn't find on any packing lists. And the second list includes items that you will receive at gear issue, but that you may want to get extras of before you show up at OCS. If any of this is redundant and did in fact show up on any one of those packing lists, I do apologize, but it is never a bad idea to see or hear something twice. Also, I do apologize for the PowerPoint. I know PowerPoints are boring, but that does seem to me to be the best way to relay this knowledge. Okay, so for the first list, I'm going to start out with some obvious items that you may not have thought to bring. The first item that I brought was a ruler, and in fact, I brought several to hand out to my platoon mates who forgot to bring their own. Second item that I brought was a tote bag for toiletries so that I didn't have to carry everything by hand from my rack to the head. The third thing that I brought was a headlamp. Now, if you're going to get one of these, you will want to make sure that it's got a red light, because red lights are the only type of lights allowed after lights out, which is at 2100. You will be issued a standard flashlight or a moonbeam, but those don't allow you to operate hands-free like headlamps do. Another thing that I brought was packing tape, and packing tape allows you to laminate documents, which you'll need to do from time to time at OCS. And the fifth thing that I brought was electrical tape, which is used at OCS to secure any loose straps on any of your packs. Now, here is where we get into some of the more craftier things that I brought that were a huge help at OCS. The first thing we'll look at is a set of magnetic hooks. Now, I found these at Harbor Freight, which is a discount hardware store, but I'm sure that they're available at Home Depot or maybe even Walmart. I like these better than the adhesive plastic hooks because your wall lockers are made of metal, and so you can reposition these as many times as you want, and there's no cleanup, and then there's no repurchasing anything. What I love about these hooks is that they are cheap, and they will allow you to use the vertical space in your wall locker. Your wall locker comes with 3 pre-installed hooks, one on each side and then one in the back. The one in the back is a nuisance to get to because of all the gear that you've hung on your bar. And so these hooks allow you to use more of that side space in your wall locker, and you can really hang anything under 5 pounds on them, which makes it a lot easier to go into your wall locker and reach and grab something instead of fighting to get it out of there from all the way in the back. This next item is easily my favorite item that I brought to OCS, and also easily the best $6 that I spent in a long time. What this is one of those shoe racks that you would typically hang over a bedroom door. For OCS, you really only have space to use 3 columns, and you need to fold that 4th column over. But what this allows you to do is to automatically inventory any 18 items that you want. There are 6 pockets per column, and so what I use this for is shirts, shorts, and socks, and then some extra items where I could fit them. And as you can see, this shoe rack allows you to automatically inventory everything that you've got, and it also makes it a lot easier to just grab and go, as opposed to digging through either your the rest of your wall locker or your foot locker for when you need to get changed quickly. You can find this at Walmart for under $6. Another time-saving thing that I brought to OCS was a set of no-tie shoelaces. And before coming to OCS, I relaced both sets of Go Fasters with these no-tie shoelaces. And what they do is they basically make your sneakers slip-ons so that you don't have to waste time tying your shoes. And you can relace your Go Fasters to be as tight or as loose as you want. I went through all of OCS with both sets of Go Fasters having these shoelaces, and I never felt that they didn't hold on to my feet well enough. So for me, these were a home run, and in fact, I brought a few extra sets to hand out to my fire team. The other great thing about these is that once you've put them on your Go Fasters, you will not need to worry about tucking your shoelaces in, which is a big thing at OCS. You can also get these at Walmart, and they do come in black and white by Kiwi, the shoelace company. The last kind of crafty thing that I brought was a stack of manila file folders. Manila file folders are useful for creating stencils that you will need to use to mark your shirts with your company letter. The reason that I brought a stack was so that I could share. Alright, so let's move on to that second list. Now, before I start listing the items, I do have to tell you about the Marine Corps Exchange, or MCX. And the Marine Corps Exchange is basically the department store on Marine Corps bases. For the purposes of OCS, you'll be interested in 3 Marine Corps Exchange locations. One of them is actually on Brown Field, and that's where you'll do your resupplies. The other one is the main Marine Corps Exchange. It's by the commissary and the McDonald's on base. And then the third will be between Brown Field and Q-Town. The Marine Corps Exchange at Brown Field is where your company will go to resupply personal and training items. Typically, it's only the fire team leaders that will go in there and buy the necessary items for their fire teams, and they're obviously not allowed to buy beef jerky or energy drinks or anything of that nature. The main Marine Corps Exchange and the Marine Corps Exchange on the way from Brown Field to Q-Town will only be accessible to you either before you report to OCS or during Liberty periods. And it's always, of course, at the discretion of the staff. With all of that in mind, let's take a look at the items that you may want to purchase before reporting into OCS. The first item is a write in a rain pad. Now, you will be issued one of those top to bottom notepad style pads with the case, but what I did was I went out and bought one of these notebook style left to right pads with the case. I would still keep the notepad version handy, and in fact the case is a perfect storage container for your candidate regulations, but what I did was I brought this notebook style with me on field exercises, and it makes writing operations orders a lot easier. The whole set will cost you about $30 between the notebook and the carrying case. The next item is camo paint, and these are sold in 3-packs at the Maine Marine Corps Exchange. You will typically run out of green the quickest. You'll also want to get extra Sharpies, the regular kind and also the jumbo kind, because you'll use Sharpies to mark all of your gear, so make sure to have plenty of those on hand. You'll want to have extra socks, because especially if you get calluses, you'll be swapping out your socks fairly often, and during the summertime you do a lot of PT, especially in the early going in your go fasters and green on green. During gear issue, you'll get 6 pairs of white socks and 6 pairs of coyote brown boot socks. I had 12 pairs total, so that means get 6 extra pairs of each. The next item is white athletic tape. This tape is what you'll use to mark all of your gear outside of your clothing, and the Maine Marine Corps Exchange should have stacks of these if you come there before OCS. Each roll costs about $2, and you'll want to grab 3 or 4 rolls. The next item that is useful to have an extra set of is your woodland camouflage uniform, and this item comes with a little bit of a caveat. During gear issue, you'll be fitted for the proper size of your trousers and blouse, and somewhere around week 4, if I'm remembering correctly, you will need to give up one of your officially issued sets of woodland and desert camis so that they can sew the name tapes on. So you'll go from the 3 sets that you were issued down to 2 sets. In my experience, 2 sets of woodland camis is not enough, so I went and bought another set. Now, between the trousers and the blouse, it'll cost about $100, so just keep that in mind. Camouflage uniforms are available at the Maine Marine Corps Exchange, and I would get them during your first Liberty period to make sure that you're buying the right size. And of course, you'll need them for after your time at OCS if you make it. The next item is boot bands, and you can do a couple of different things with these. Boot bands cost about $2 for 4 pairs, if I'm not mistaken, and you can blouse your boots with a single boot band. You can use the metal boot bands, which are also available at the Maine Marine Corps Exchange, or you can tie a square knot with those 2 green boot bands for a sturdier hold. I personally like the square knot variation, but I did use single boot bands exclusively because it was just quicker to blouse boots with those during OCS. And I didn't buy the metal ones because you tend to lose boot bands at OCS, and the green ones are just cheaper to replace. The next item I've included on my list is a pair of Bates Lights boots. During gear issue, you'll be issued jungle boots and inclement weather boots. That's what we were issued anyway. And Bates Lights should still be authorized, though you want to check with the proper authorities on those. And Bates Lights are great for running in. Now, when I was shopping for Bates Lights, I found that the cheapest pair were available on the Marine Shop website. If you haven't bought a pair yet, you may just want to buy them at the Maine Marine Corps Exchange. They are slightly more expensive than $100, and obviously you won't have time to break them in, but they're relatively easy boots to work with. And as far as I know, the Marine Corps Exchange doesn't sell to the public, which is why you couldn't buy them online for that price. Now, last but certainly not least are skivvy shorts. Skivvy shorts look something like this picture, and you will be issued 3 pairs. I found that having 6 total pairs of skivvy shorts was extremely beneficial, so that you're not doing laundry every night, or so that you're not forced to wear sweaty skivvy shorts 3 days straight. Especially during the summer, you'll be sweating like crazy, and you'll probably be changing out of uniforms once or twice a day. And skivvy shorts must be worn under your camis at all times. So that concludes my list of things that I brought to OCS. If you have any questions or comments about any of these particular items or about OCS in general, please feel free to send me a message or to write in the comments below, and I'll try to answer as many questions as possible before OCS begins. Or if you've been to OCS before and you have other crafty suggestions, please include those as well for all of the candidates who are going. Now, the last thing that I'll do in this video, and that I'll try to do with every video, is include a tie-in. And a tie-in is a principle that can be taught that is relevant to the subject of the video, but also has a broader applicability. Today's tie-in is that preparation prevents poor performance. If you take some time before an objective to prepare, you will greatly increase your chances of success and greatly minimize the risk that something horrible happens. At OCS, and really anywhere in life, this principle will serve you well. At OCS, the schedule is published a few days in advance, so you will always know what you need for the next day, barring any unexpected changes. And so it's better to prepare in advance so that you're not scrambling the day of. You do not have a lot of room to scramble at OCS, and if that has been a habit of yours, that is one of the first things that needs to go if you are going to succeed. And the way to negate that habit is to prepare everything ahead of time. So thank you for watching. If you have any feedback, and especially if you're going to OCS shortly here, please send it my way. Take care.